भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नास्तपयेशवदेशो नित्यं भगवते सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकीम्। एते चांसा कला पुंसं कृष्णस्तु भगवान् स्वयं इन्द्रियव्याकुलं लोकं मृड्यन्ते युगे युगे। नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपापप्रणाशनं प्रणामदुःखशमनस्तं नमामि हरिं परं। निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं सुखमुखदमृतदिवसंमृतं पिबत भगवतमरसमालयं मुहुरहोरासिकभुविभावुकः। So we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th canto, 20th chapter, entitled The Dynasty of Puru, text number 27. Trayas Trimsach Chatam Hyasvan Bodhva Vishmapayan Nripan Daushmantir Atyagan Mayam Devanam Gurum Ayayao Trayastrim Sachchatam Hyashvan Bodhva Vishmapayan Nripan Daushmantiratyagan Mayam Devanam Gurum Ayayao Trayam Trimshat 30 Shatam 100 He indeed Ashvan horses Badva resting in the yagya Vishmapayan astonishing Nripan all other kings Daushmanti the son of Maharaj Dushmanta Atyagat surpassed Mayam material opulences Devanam of the demigods Gurum the supreme spiritual master Ayayao achieved. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushmanta, bound 3,300 horses for those sacrifices. And thus he astonished all the other kings. He surpassed even the opulence of the demigods, for he achieved the Supreme Spiritual Master Hari. Purport. One who achieves the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead certainly surpasses all material wealth, even that of the demigods in the heavenly planets. Yam ladva chaparam labham manyate nadikam tadaha. The achievement of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the most exalted achievement in life. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति सादरन्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादं सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवहरि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। त्रयस्त्रिंशच्युतं ह्यश्वन् बाध्वा विस्मापयं नृपं दौष्मन्तिरत्यगन्मायं देवनं गुरुम् आययौ। Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushmant, found 3,300 horses for those sacrifices. And he astonished all other kings. He surpassed even the opulence of the demigods, for he achieved the supreme spiritual master Hari. So here in this verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the descendants of King Puru are described. Specifically now about Bharat Maharaj, the son of Dushmanta, who was a empowered personality, a partial expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as has been explained a few verses ago. Amsha Bhuvaha, a partial representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As we know, the Supreme Lord, the root of everything, is Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Mool Roop Adi Roop. All the spiritual, the material worlds, all the incarnations, ultimately they are coming from Krishna. Aham sarvasya prabhavo bata sarvam pavatate. Krishna himself is explaining to Arjuna, everything is coming from me. Therefore the saintly persons, they will surrender to Krishna. And Lord Brahma is explaining, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigranadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. And then glorifying Govinda, Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. And then so different expansions are there of the Lord. The first expansion is Balaram, as we know. And then after that Vasudev Krishna and Shankashan Pradumni and so on in Dwarka. And then different Vishnu Murtis in the spiritual realm. And when this material world is manifested, the three Purusha avatars are manifested: Mahavishnu, Karanadakshay Vishnu, then Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and then Kshirodakshay Vishnu. And it is mentioned then Kshirodakshay Vishnu is the source of the many different avatars which are coming in this material world from time to time to establish the principles of religion and to deliver the devotees and to punish the miscreants. So some are direct expansions of the Lord, and some are the expansions of the Lord. And some are known as Shakti-Avesh Avatar. They are invested with the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by which they're able to rule the kingdom, or they're able to rule the planet, as here Bharat Maharaj. Or some are specifically empowered to preach, like Narada Muni, and the 4 Kumaras, and others. Our Srila Prabhupada. So he was empowered, specially empowered. Even Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, they were saying that even Jesus Christ, he was a Shakti-Avesh Avatar, empowered to spread God consciousness. So Bharat Maharaj, he was empowered to rule the kingdom, actually the entire planet. And it is mentioned Saptadvip, the 7 islands. As we know now, here we are in Bharatvarsha. Of course now it is called India, but there's an attempt to again, I heard even in the Supreme Court there was supposed to be proposal made by some intelligent person, saintly person, to rename India as Bharatvarsha. Because India was given by the British at the time of independence, 15th August. And the meaning of India is actually independent nation declared in August. That is India. I for India, no, for independent, and for nation. D declared, I in A August, that is India. So, but whereas the name Bharat has a meaning, Sisi Gaunitai, Sisi Krishna Balaram, Sisi Radha Shama Sundar. And first of all, as we know, so we are situated in Bhumandal. Bhumandal means the earthly plane. As we know, Choda Bhuvana, 14 planetary systems are there. One of them is the middle planetary system is known as Bhumandal, earthly planetary system. And the center of it is known as Jambudvip. And that is divided, Jambudvip is divided in 9 Varshas. The center is known as Ilavarik Varsha. And then there are 2 in the north, 2 in the west, 2 in the east, and 2 in the south. In the south of the main Varsha, and in the center is a Sumeru mountain, and south of it there's Kimpurush Varsha, where actually Hanuman is residing, worshipping Lord Ram, and south of that is Bharat Varsha, which is still existing, Bharat Varsha, which, and even it is inhabited, but, and our part is only a small part of greater Bharat Varsha. But we are even now actually disconnected from the greater Bharatvarsha due to the influence of time, according to the Srimad Bhagavatam. And, but still we are actually very fortunate, because in that part of Bharatvarsha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, appeared. And also, as we know, just a few hundred years ago, 534 years ago actually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, and by his mercy only we are able to advance in spiritual life. By his mercy only, and of course by the mercy of his associates, we are now sitting here in this beautiful Sisi Krishna Balaram Mandir. By the mercy of Mahaprabhu, and then by the mercy of his empowered representative, Srila Prabhupada. So we are sitting here and we are able to see the beautiful forms of Sisi Gaunitai, Sisi Krishna Balaram, Sisi Radha Shama Sundar. And we have the opportunity by chanting the holy names to make advancement in spiritual life. So as explained here, so Bharat Maharaj, so he was the emperor of this whole world, not only this unknown earth as we know, but of whole Jambudvip, not only of Jambudvip, but the Saptadvip. Surrounding Jambudvip there is an ocean of salt. Even our earth, as we know, is surrounded by water, salt water. And then there's another dweep, and that is surrounded by milk. And then there's another island beyond this ocean of milk and around. And then there's another ocean of sugarcane juice, and then the next island is there, and then again there's an ocean of ghee and so on, and then there's an ocean of liquor also, and the last ocean is an ocean of sweet water. So he was the emperor of the Saptadvip, so very powerful, so he was able to cross the ocean. So whereas now, of course, the materialistic people in the age of Kali, they're thinking themselves very powerful and very great, but totally insignificant. Especially in the age of Kali, we are totally insignificant and very fallen. Kala Shudra Sambhavaha. In the age of Kali, everyone is just like a Shudra, no good qualification. By the mercy of the Lord, especially Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and by the mercy of the pure devotee, the qualifications are given by which we can engage in devotional service. And so much so that we can even attain to the highest platform of pure devotional service and go to the highest realm, which is Golok Vrindavan. And then we can enter the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya, of Krishna, and also next to, actually the highest realm is known as Krishna Loka, which is divided in 4. There's Dwarkapuri, Mathurapuri, and then Golok Vrindavan, Braj Vrindavan, and then Shvetadvip Navadvip. So we have the opportunity to go to the highest realm. So higher than Dwarka Mathura is Golok, Braj Vrindavan, Braj Dham, and then also Shvetadvip Navadvip, which is simultaneously different and also non-different from Braj, where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is eternally residing. So we are so fortunate, although we are very fallen, but we have the opportunity to go to the highest realm by the mercy of the spiritual master and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Bharata Maharaj, he was powerful, and as explained here in this verse, that he was performing these sacrifices, horse sacrifice also, a great sacrifice in a place that is explained also, the name of the place in the previous verses. So under the guidance of the learned Brahmanas, who was performing this sacrifice, and he had great opulences. For doing a sacrifice like this, you need a lot of paraphernalia, and therefore in the age of Kali, the sacrifice recommended is the chanting of the holy names, the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. At the same time, we also perform different sacrifices, like for example, when the devotees are taking shelter of the spiritual master, and when the spiritual master is accepting them, and then in order to make it, so to say, pakka, to make it, especially for the disciple, so he may understand the importance of the initiation, there's a sacrifice performed. So that is required, and for those who are in the Grihastha ashram, the householders, different purificatory rites are performed. For example, entering the Grihastha ashram, getting married, then there's a Vivaha samskar. And in order to beget the child, there's a ceremony, Garbhadan samskar. When the wife is pregnant, there's a ceremony, at least 1 or 2, sometimes 3. And whenever there's a ceremony, there's a yajna performed also, where the spiritual master, Mahaprabhu and Krishna is worshipped, and then Agni Dev is worshipped, and oblations are offered into the sacrificial fire. At the same time, whatever one is doing, even these yagyas, that should be accompanied by the chanting of the holy names. And in previous ages, they were worshipping the deities. As we know, in the Satya Yuga, the perfection was attained by meditating on the Supreme Lord. It was easier. In the age of Kali, it is difficult to meditate constantly on the Supreme Lord. But we have to do that also. But through the chanting of the Maha Mantra, then we become qualified to remember the Supreme Lord, to take shelter of His lotus feet. Without Harinam, it will be practically not possible to take full shelter. Partial shelter is there to sometimes think of the Lord, sometimes offering something to the deities, to the lotus feet of the Lord. That is possible. But full surrender is possible in the age of Kali only by chanting the holy names. And in the Treta Yuga, so yagas were performed. In the Dwapar Yuga, deity worship is recommended, and in the Kali Yuga, chanting the holy names is recommended. But we also have to worship the deities, we have to do the yagas at certain times, and we have to meditate, we have to remember the Supreme Lord. So it is not just simply externally with the body we are serving the Lord, but we have to think of Krishna, as it is mentioned in the scriptures. Asmatavya satatam Vishnur vismatavya najatu chit sarvavidi nishedasur etayoreva kinkara. There are many rules and regulations, things to do and things not to do. Vidi and Nished. Vidi, the things which you have to do, following rules and regulations, and Nished, prohibitions. As we know, we have to get up every morning and take a shower. So this is Vidhi. We have to follow this rule. And then put on fresh clothes, go to the temple for the Artik and worshipping the Lord. And then we should only take Krishna Prasadam and things. Prohibitions are there. We should not gamble. We should not have illicit connections with women. We should not eat meat and so on. We should not lie. So different prohibitions are there which we should follow. But most important rule to follow is that we should always remember Krishna or Vishnu. And what we should not do, forget Him. So in the age of Kali it is not possible unless one is chanting the holy names. Then we'll get the qualification to remember Krishna by chanting the holy names. Because Krishna Nam and Krishna are not different. In the beginning it may not be possible to remember Krishna, the personal form of Krishna. But as the consciousness becomes purified, then eventually we can see Krishna while chanting. And then we can see His qualities, His pastimes, His associates. Slowly but surely everything is revealed. So Bharat Maharaj, he was a qualified emperor, had vast opulence. And as explained here, it was surpassing the opulence of the demigods. So the demigods, they live in the higher planets, and they live longer. We can live in the age of Kali up to 100 years. So in the previous age, 1,000 years, before that 10,000, and before 100,000 on this Bhumandal. But in the higher planets, that is even many, many more years. And they don't get old. They always have youthful body. And so they have an opportunity to engage in the service of the Lord, and many are doing. At the same time, in the heavenly planets, there's so much opulence there, and it is very beautiful, much more beautiful than this earthly planet. And so there's opportunity for sense gratification. And many of the demigods, they become bewildered, and then they sometimes become lost in sense gratification. But they are certainly much more qualified than the human beings on the earthly realm, although sometimes they are engaged in sense gratification. But as we know, even we can see on this planet, even if one is becoming a devotee, still the tendency to enjoy is very difficult to give up. So what to speak therefore? So if the demigods, they engage in sense gratification, what to speak of the human beings. So even when they are in the beginning stage of devotional service. But by constant practice under the guidance of the spiritual master, then one can become free from these anarthas, unwanted material desires. And then one can slowly but surely progress. So the opulences of the demigods are far superior to the opulences on this planet. Unless one is a great personality as Bharad Maharaj. And we should understand that the opulence he had is not because of his pious activities, because of his karma, punya karma. No, the opulence was given to him because he was surrendered to the Supreme Lord. And therefore his opulence was surpassing the opulence of the demigods. Otherwise it is not possible. No one in this world can have vast opulences just like them in demigods. Only one who is an exalted devotee of the Lord, by the mercy of the Lord, in order to perform his service, then he may be given so much opulence. So he can very nicely serve the Lord. And he can then engage the praja, those who are living in his kingdom, so he can help them to be satisfied according to Vana ashram in their occupational duties. And if one is satisfied, then actually one can nicely worship the Lord. Of course, in whatever situation we are, we should take shelter of Krishna. But if everything is going fine, it is a little easier to perform devotional service. But we should not take advantage of that if everything is going well and then forgetting the Supreme Lord, which sometimes may happen. Whereas if one is poverty-stricken, if everything is taking way of the Lord, then sometimes then one will be able to cry out and take better shelter than if one is in opulent position. But sometimes then also if one is poverty-stricken, one has nothing to eat, then even you can see many times people will say that if the stomach is not full, how I can worship the Lord? Of course that is actually not really proper thing to say, because first is bhajan, then bhojan. Not bhojan and then bhajan. First we should do bhajan, we should worship the Lord, then we can do bhojan, then we can eat. First we do that is even in deity worship. And as a principle also, first we go to the temple, we chant our rounds, we hear the Bhagavatam class, and then we can take breakfast. So we get up at 4 o'clock and then 9 o'clock is prasadam time. Only 15 minutes left. So everyone is waiting, getting hungry, which is all right, that is needed. So first bhajan and then bhojan should be there. So Bharad Maharaj, so because of the mercy of the Lord, he was able to have great opulence, and he was engaging everything in Krishna service. And he was inspiring everyone to worship the Lord in his kingdom. Now there's an important point to understand that, so as mentioned here, that the most exalted achievement is life. In life is achievement of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the goal of life is to be able to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. But it is not so easy. And it is not simply that if one is desiring, now let me surrender to Krishna and remember him all the time and take shelter of his lotus feet fully. And the desire may be there, but practically it is not so easy. One has to endeavor to constantly remember Krishna, to take shelter of his lotus feet. But it's a process which we have to follow. And then only it will be possible. And there's two kinds of surrender also. One is external and one is internal. So externally is by bowing down before the Lord and chanting the holy names, worshipping the deity. So with the body, sadak sharir. But then internally with the consciousness, we have to take shelter of Krishna ultimately. And but that's explained by Rupa Goswami in the 64 limbs of devotional service. The first limb of devotional service is Guru Pad Ashray. You have to take shelter of the lotus feet of the spiritual master. And therefore, every morning we chant the Guru Vastakam, Samsara Davanara Lililoka, Vande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam. We offer obeisances to the lotus feet of the spiritual master. And then Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sarma. So the lotus feet of the spiritual master, we take shelter of them. And then by his mercy, we can engage in devotional service. And Rupa Goswami has explained in active devotion that after taking shelter of the spiritual master, then it is explained we also take shelter of the previous acharyas. And it is mentioned in the scriptures, Guru Sadhu Shastra. So we take shelter of the spiritual master, the sadhus, the previous acharyas also, and the scriptures. Further on, Rupa Goswami has explained what to do, what not to do. Again, Vidya Nished. And then he has explained the process of Navavida Bhakti. First we hear Shravanam, from the spiritual master especially, from the pure devotee, how to engage in the devotional service. We hear about Krishna's beautiful form, Shama Sundar, Tibang Lalit. How Krishna is so beautiful, his threefold bending form, having a peacock feather in his crown, or in his turban, or sometimes he doesn't have a turban or a crown, just the hair is there, and then he makes a top knot with a jewel, with a pearl necklace, and then he has a peacock feather there in the hair. And he's wearing a beautiful yellow pitambar vesh, yellow dhoti and chadar. Vamsidhar, he's known as Vamsidhar, he's holding the flute, and he's playing the flute. And he's surrounded by his associates, especially the gopis. Gopas tri parivestito. So by hearing that from the spiritual master, then there's a chance of remembering the Supreme Lord. Of course, the spiritual master, he will give a process by which the devotee can be engaged in devotional service, by which he can remember Krishna more and more. So because we may hear about Krishna when the spiritual master is speaking, but then the class is finished, then what? Then Maya is there again. And then we have to again engage in devotional service, different forms of devotional service. But we have to make a constant effort to actually constantly chant the holy names and constantly remember Krishna. Krishna means the person, Krishna is beautiful form. And especially starting with the lotus feet. This is explained that when you take darshan of the deities, or even when Krishna was present, then the devotees, first of all, especially the younger devotees, so even Arjuna, for example, or Nakul and Sahadev, they were younger than Krishna. Then when they saw Krishna, first they were looking at they saw him, his form, but then they were taking shelter of his lotus feet, seeing and touching the lotus feet. And so when we take shelter of the deities, when we see the deities, first we should see the lotus feet, and then slowly we go up. Of course, sometimes, just like the gopis also and the devotees, when Krishna is appearing, then it is natural to see the lotus feet, or the lotus face first, and then we recognize, oh, this is Krishna, and then we can see the lotus feet, and then we go. Similarly here, when we see the deities, when the curtains are opening, time of darshan, we see the beautiful form of Gonitai. But then when we have seen the full form, the face, then again we should take shelter of the lotus feet, and then slowly can go up, and then fix our mind on the beautiful lotus face of Krishna. And then we go to Krishna Balaram. The curtains open, we see the beautiful form of Krishna Balaram, and then we take shelter of their lotus feet, and then we go up and see the lotus face. Similarly, when we reach Radhishyam, then we see the lotus feet of Krishna. Lotus feet on Radharani only on Rajashtami. Except the pujaris, they can see the lotus feet of Radharani every day. But still we can see the skirt and take shelter of the, by mind also, of course we can, and even so we can take shelter and touch the base of the skirt of Srimati Radharani. Even the pujaris, when they are taking, before doing the seva, they will touch the lotus feet of Krishna and then Srimati Radharani, or at least the skirt when the skirt is there. And then even Prabhupada has explained, the pujari are very fortunate. They can put the head on the lotus feet of Krishna directly. So most fortunate. But as explained, so not only with the body, with the consciousness we have to take shelter. Even when we are outside seeing the deities, with the eyes and the mind, actually we can take shelter and we can put our head, our transcendental form is there, and we can take shelter, and we should take shelter with the lotus feet of Krishna. And as we're chanting, so we're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So the vibration is there, Krishna Nam. So we're chanting with the tongue and hearing with the ears. But ultimately then the mind should be there, situated. Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayor should be fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna. And as Mahaprabhu told Raghunath Das Goswami, Amanina Manadahana, that first of all you have to be very humble. Don't expect any respect, give all respects to others. And then Krishna Nama Sadalabe. And then take Krishna Nam, always chant the holy names. And then Braje, Radha Krishna Seva Manase Karibe. With your mind you should do seva of Radha and Krishna. So in purified consciousness it is possible. But first you have to take shelter of the spiritual master also. Even while chanting, just like we do take shelter of Prabhupada when you go to the temple, on the altar also we take shelter of the spiritual master, and then only we do artik. Or when we do the puja, the abhishek and the dressing of the deities, first we have to do Guru Puja. Without Guru Puja you cannot worship Krishna. And then you do Gauranga Puja. And then there always first Guru Puja, we offer flowers to the lotus feet, we worship the spiritual master. And then Gauranga Puja. In the age of Kali, without Mahaprabhu, it is very difficult to take shelter of Krishna. Extremely difficult. Very, very rare. So therefore we have to take shelter of Mahaprabhu. And so after Guru Puja, it should be Gauranga Puja. We worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then you can do Krishna Puja. Similarly in chanting the holy names, then you have to take shelter of Sri Guru. Therefore we chant Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivajari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we have to take shelter practically while we're chanting also of Sri Guru. And then Sri Gauranga. And then remember the beautiful form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Take shelter of his lotus feet. And then it is possible later on to remember Sri Radha Krishna and their wonderful pastimes. And even it is explained that by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, Bina Dham Seva, without Dham Seva, there is no Nam Seva. There you cannot chant Krishna Nam properly. If you're not remembering the holy Dham, you cannot chant Krishna Nam properly. So, and even in deity worship, so we worship Guru, and he's situated there as the Acharya Swarup, and then he's there in Guru Lila and Krishna Lila. And that is the meditation in Guru Puja, actual Guru Puja. After that, so Gauranga Puja, so there is Navadip Dham Dhyan. You have to remember Navadip Dham. And then you worship Mahaprabhu. After that, you do Vrindavan Dham Dhyan. You remember Vrindavan Dham. And then you worship Radha and Krishna. Similarly, so therefore deity worship is so important. By nicely worshipping the deities, and of course by hearing about Mahaprabhu and Krishna, then you can chant Krishna Naam nicely. And so while chanting Krishna Naam, so you have to remember Navadvip Dham, and then only you can see Mahaprabhu while chanting. And later on, if you want to see Krishna, you have to remember Vrindavan Dham, you have to pray to Vrindavan Dham, and then you can remember Krishna. And that is the natural taking shelter of lotus feet of Krishna, ultimately. So it is a gradual, very gradual process. And first of all, by taking shelter of the Spiritual Master, by serving him, by hearing from him about Krishna, by taking his blessings so one can worship the deities, and then he will give us instructions of what to do, what not to do, and he will reveal more and more. So we can go from one stage of devotional service to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And that ultimately we can come to the highest stage of pure devotional service. And then take full shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Even in Navavida Bhakti, so that is explained, even Prabhupada explained, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Parasevanam Dasyam, Parasevanam Achanam Bandhanam Dasyam. Up to Dasyam, that is known as Vidyamarg, following the rules and regulations under the guidance of the Spiritual Master. And after that, Sakyam Atmani Vedanam, that is known as Ragamarg, spontaneous devotional service. Also under the guidance of the Spiritual Master, when one is purified in consciousness on the transcendental plane of the soul, then one can fully surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna. And then once transcendental nature may be revealed, and then everything, all perfection may be there, and then all opulences will be there. So we have to see that we can progress from one stage to other to the whole highest stage. Otherwise, in the beginning, the surrender, it is partial, which is all right, which we have to do. But ultimately has to be internal surrender to the transcendental Satchidananda Swarup of Krishna in purified consciousness. So it takes time, but we have time, and so we have to endeavor our best. So to take full shelter of the lotus feet by mercy of Guru Gauranga, and then we can take full shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, and then all perfection is achieved. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we stop here. I don't have any time to answer any questions because I have other services to do. Another time you can ask questions. Hare Krishna.